Apart from yourself, who is your favorite current boxer?
I think many boxers out there, really good boxers. I don't watch too much boxing, so, but Gervonta Davis, I like him. He's young, he's very talented fighter.
Would you still?
I got 100 guns, 100 clips. I'm from New York, New York. We going New York for New York. Ego Stradamus got something to say. Gervonta Tank Davis will outsell Canelo. Hey, payday, you want payday? I know that. We gonna talk about it in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Gang, gang. Tonight is the night, like Chris Cross said. Tonight's the night I call up all the girls I used to go to school with, fool with, and all that I'm cool with. Let them all know that my mom's is home, and it'll be tomorrow before she come back home. Ding dong, say no more. Tank Davis is ushering boxing back into the Barclays Center in the New York area. This is the first New York fight that we've had really that I can think of in quite some time. You know, guy who's frequently the Barclays, that's Danny Garcia. His last fight was Errol Spence. Hey, start that car in Texas. So this is the first time New York getting a little piece of this, at least for a PBC fight. What better way than to bring Tank versus Rolly? Now they've done a great job of selling the fight to the public, making you interested, making you curious. You got two guys with power in both hands, knockout artists from the same gym, originally Mayweather Boxing Club, Boxing Gym, with the same promoter, Mayweather Promotions, Floyd. Easy work, like I said, I ain't gotta worry about it. And, you know, sworn enemies, don't like each other, bad blood. It's gonna be a good one. What you guys see in the title, I truly believe that New York for New York, Tank is gonna do better business than Canelo Alvarez. That's the Ego Stradamus prediction. In fact, I got Canelo's commission report from his New York fight. So you guys remember in 2018, he had just left HBO. His first fight with DAZN Boxing, was against Rocky Fielding, right? And people are like, who's this Fielding? And Canelo Alvarez, I got the commission report to that Rocky Fielding fight, and I believe Tank is gonna break those numbers. And your boy Ego has obtained Canelo Fielding numbers. Canelo versus Fielding in New York sold 15,990,000 in terms of tickets. They comped out less than 2,000, 1,784. And Canelo's live gate was 3,262,120. So against the unknown name, you know, these are solid numbers. New York is a city, and it's a big city with a lot of attractions, you know, Manhattan, a lot of money, Chelsea, different areas, Brooklyn, you know, they got nice places out there. They got a lot of commerce and business out in New York. So these are Canelo's numbers. So basically 3.2 million was generated. Now keep in mind, this fight I'm referencing was when Canelo was still with Golden Boy Promotions, as you guys see. This is the official New York commission report obtained by yours truly for that December 2018 fight. And it confirms all the numbers that I just gave you, and it shows that Canelo generated 3.2 million. That was his live gate. So again, unknown guy. But I know some of you guys are thinking, they're like, oh, but Boxing Ego, who cares? Why are you bringing this up? Because this is what the Canelo Man fans tend to do. They say Canelo's the face of boxing, and then for the purpose of this video, for starters, I talk about what I want on my channel. You can like it, you can not like it, doesn't change anything. But this is a point of interest to me because, again, old media keeps saying that Canelo is the face of boxing and everybody must bow down and King Nello and God Nello. But I'm willing to wager that the Gervonta Davis versus Rolly is a fight that actually has sparked more interest and will be financially viable and more successful and lucrative from a business positioning than is the case with DAZN. Now, the other thing that's interesting is because DAZN came out and said pay-per-view's dead. So at this time in 2018, that's what they were going with. They've later since come out and changed that and say, oh, hey, just kidding, psych, pay-per-view is not dead. We brought it back to life, we revived it, and now they're doing pay-per-views, but that's not always what they were saying. At this point, this wasn't a pay-per-view. So his live gate was what it was, and the numbers for Canelo versus Fielding, the reports were saying that they were shockingly low, much like his recent numbers with BIVOL. Now, seeing how I'm the greatest that this sport has ever seen in boxing history when it comes to reporting in the digital age of boxing, I feel it's my civic duty to give you guys more information. So you know I'm not just pulling things arbitrarily out. And you guys see on the screen, it says, Meltzer on Observer Radio today, quote, DAZN will never release numbers, but the viewers for the Canelo fight were shockingly low. Shockingly. A lot of money is being spent on this stuff, and the number of subscribers they got is so sad. This is what an insider had to say regarding Canelo Fielding. You see the dates all aligned. This is December 2018. So this was for the Rocky Fielding fight. Fast forward to the future, you have Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, who worked with DAZN and partnered with them to commentate and push the fight in an affiliate fashion. And this is what Dave Portnoy had to say. So this was in 2018. This is what Dave Portnoy said this year for the Canelo versus BIVOL fight. Roll the clip.
Did a good job with it. The technology sucked. We did not do good with signups. I don't know why. Like, awful. I don't know if it's because the numbers were shockingly low. I'm not going to say what they are, but they're shockingly low. And I have no idea why.
That was Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, ladies and gentlemen, who worked with DAZN for Canelo versus BIVOL. So how does this all tie in? Very simple. A lot of people in boxing, they want to run and continue to run with these narratives that have just been around, and nobody outside of the boy boxing ego wants to challenge the establishment and challenge the status quo to see if these terms, see if these coined phrases need to be updated. Are they passe? Is Canelo really still the face of boxing and the only one moving the needle? And my thing is this: Canelo represents bad business on DAZN. Period. I've said it. Everything I said came true. I told you DAZN, their programming with Canelo not being on pay-per-view, them pulling him off pay-per-view and then charging nothing to the customer, who's gonna pay for that? So they thought because at a cheaper price point, you could just watch Canelo for free, that a bunch of people were gonna come and, you know, in droves swarm to the DAZN app. And when that did not happen, DAZN, they said, hey man, can't beat them, join them. And they went and reneged on everything they said and decided to say pay-per-view is now in session after they said pay-per-view was dead. So Canelo, I don't care how much he makes. He can make $1 billion a fight. Doesn't change my life in the least. But for fans to say that he's the face of boxing, you know, I'm curious about this, and I'm curious about these numbers. I've just provided you a 2018 fight. You guys see it again, and a 2022 fight. All these DAZN fights have been, no matter, and keep in mind, how is a BIVOL fight, which was a championship fight that the fans said, oh, Canelo's daring to be great and BIVOL's the toughest, and they tried their best to sell it. How come the numbers are being called shockingly low by someone who participated in the advertising of the fight, Dave Portnoy, in that clip I just played? 2018, Canelo fought an unknown foreign fighter, notice a pattern, and that was against Rocky Fielding. And then guess what? Rocky Fielding, they said the numbers were shockingly low. So this is the face of boxing. So no one else sees this but me. Meanwhile, Gervonta Davis is fighting Rolly, who Rolly's done a great job. I take nothing away from Rolly. He's done a great job of building and hyping the fight as well. But he's not a big known commodity where everybody was checking on his fights like that. You know, if you know, hardcore boxing fans maybe, but I'm talking about worldwide. Tank is now on World Star. no jumper, baller alert. Like people that don't even normally cover boxing per se, like DJ Academic. Now, check it out now. We have all these media, big personalities and channels and YouTubers are talking about Gervonta Davis. They keep saying that Canelo is the face of boxing and he's moving all the numbers, but he's not even proven to be profitable, as I've showed you in the video. You got to ask yourself this question. If Canelo BIVOL, Eddie Hearn lying to the fans, Cappy Hearns, he's saying that the fight with Canelo and BIVOL did great, contrary to what Barstool Sports, who work with them, and everyone else is forecasting, right? He's saying it did great. Ask yourself this question. See, nobody in boxing has the mental dexterity to insult my intelligence. Nobody. Fighter, trainer, promoter, nobody, right? Ask yourself this question. If Canelo BIVOL was such big business and it did great numbers and great viewership, right? And the world needs a sequel because Canelo lost and it was a quote upset, why would DAZN be okay with a Triple G fight happening next? That's like PBC and ESPN. They did great business for the Wilder Fury Part 2. And Wilder was owed a third fight. So that made the most sense. And Wilder pushed and forced for that fight to happen. So why would DAZN, if Canelo BIVOL really did these great numbers, like 600,000 and 700,000, whatever Eddie Hearn is lying and saying to the people, then why would DAZN be okay with unfinished business not being attended to so Canelo can fight Triple G? Because they know the numbers suck and they know that Canelo versus Triple G, they're hoping that that will save them and that will do better business. Because you're not gonna, it's like Vin Diesel. If he's in the Fast and the Furious 9, what's next? Fast and the Furious 10. Universal Pictures is gonna see that, man, we have a franchise here and there's a keen interest. Or like, let's say Iron Man or the Avengers or Aquaman. If they've seen good numbers, then they're gonna continue to produce more of that. It's no different for me as a YouTuber. If I look at the numbers and I see that you guys are responding well, then yeah, I'm gonna make more content surrounding what you guys are responding to already. If Aquaman, Justice League, if it breaks box office records, then there's probably gonna be a sequel. So why is there no Canelo BIVOL sequel? Why is he moving on to Triple G if the numbers were so great? So Tank Davis, I firmly believe he will, and I'll probably make a part 2 of this video, but I firmly believe he's gonna out Canelo his business in New York, and he's not getting paid. He's getting great money, but he's not getting paid an astronomical amount that don't make sense to fight Rolly, yet Rolly fight week feels like a fight week versus the BIVOL fight week didn't feel like a fight week, and it's not profitable. And you have to pay Canelo this payday, this crazy amount. So it's like we got to really establish the rules in boxing and what's really going on. If you're heavy is the head that holds the crown. If Canelo's the face of boxing, his numbers would show, and his numbers should show and be shown. When Floyd Mayweather was king of the hill and he was clearly the cash cow of boxing and the A side of boxing, his numbers came out. You knew there was no one out in boxing, Pacquiao included, putting out bigger events than Floyd Mayweather. Like Pacquiao Bradley didn't do bigger than, Mayweather Cotto or Mayweather versus Maidana or whoever else he was fighting that same year. Pacquiao's fighting Jesse Vargas or Bradley or Chris Algieri, period. I'll probably do another sequel to this video. Subscribe to the channel because I'm the best in the business. I gotta let y'all know a couple more details why I believe that Tank Davis will outsell in New York tonight with Rolly. Not a huge name, they just did a great job with the theatrics and selling the fight. I think he'll outsell Rocky Fielding and Canelo, which also took place in New York, and they said the numbers were shockingly low. And if you look at the ticket prices for the Gervonta Tank Davis fight in New York, they're not cheap. The Canelo fight tickets are cheap. That's why Canelo's gonna break his live gate tonight. I believe that for sure. Again, old media, they're saying things like, oh, nobody wants to see Tank versus Rolly. Who asked for the fight? They complained when the fight was scheduled the first time. They complained the second time. They're saying no one wants to see Tank Rolly. No one wants to see Tank Rolly. Watch tonight. Watch what these numbers do. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Tank is a big ticket and he's a brand that's selling. With less tickets sold, Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios, 13,076 tickets sold. They did a gate of 4,537,695. Shout out to Exposing Boxing Myths for having the information. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. And he says Tank, he really is that dude. And I concur. I definitely agree with that. 13,000 ticket sales against Barrios in Atlanta, a black fighter, Gervonta Davis, and he did a gate of 4.5 million. I've already showed you in this video, Canelo had cheaper tickets in New York. This is an Atlanta fight, right? Canelo had cheaper tickets in New York, and a big city like New York, and Tank sold less tickets and made a bigger live gate. Plus, he's not getting paid $50 million a pop like Canelo Alvarez on DAZN. So you can't make this business make sense. Gervonta Davis is really a star. You just got to deal with that. Shout out to Mayweather Promotions, Steven Espinoza, CBS, Showtime, Al Heyman, and Premier Boxing Champions. They've done a great job with Tank, and the business makes sense. And watch what Tank does. Watch the crowd when you see it tonight. I'll be doing the Boxing Ego watch party. Come back and you can tell me about myself if I'm wrong. But I know I won't be, because I'm the best in the business. Ego Stradamus strikes again. Watch this.